Alright, for anybody who's interested, I am going to show you my process. This afternoon I've recorded a video on the subject of confirmation bias, and I'm going to drop it into iMovie and show you my editing process. So I'll just go and find it where my computer has recorded it, which is in my movies, and I'm going to drag it down into my iMovie timeline. You'll notice I've already got a clip in there. That's my stinger at the end of the movie. So all I'm going to do now is go through, cut out the bits that I don't want, and then I'll come back to you later. This is very easy to do. You just click on a point, and if I right click, I can split clip, and then I select that portion that I don't want and I get rid of it. And I just go through the movie in that way. So I've got here a fairly large section, a big gap that I want to get rid of. So what I'm going to do is just select a section, and all I need to do is hold down the R key on the keyboard and drag across that part that I want to delete. I can stretch it a little bit further. Press delete. Let's have a look and see how that goes.
That you remember that what you are looking at isn't real. I wonder if you ever had the experience.
Now I can adjust that if I want. I'm going to make this gap here a little shorter. Perhaps leave it a little longer here. Let's see how that goes. Okay, so I've got this now largely to the place I'm happy with it. I've edited out any silences and cut out any repeats of I've cut out retakes of anything that I've said, and I'm going to start adding a few more things in here now. Now at this point in the video I want to add a filter. I'm going to select this section, this short section of video here. So I've split it off, so I only want this filter to apply to this, and I'm going to go up here and look at them. Now perhaps I might change my mind on that. I'm just going to do an undo. On an Apple it's Command Z. That gets off the filter, and you'll notice that repairs the cut that I made. I'm going to put it here before the word this. So let's reselect that section and go to my filters, and I've changed my mind on the filter I'm going to use. I'm going to go with that one because it's just much more stark. And it's not until I do something like this that you remember that what you are looking at isn't real. Now just for the sake of the argument, I'm going to put a transition in here as well, an unusual transition. Let me see what I'm going to find. Let's do this cross zoom. I've done that before. I quite like that transition as well.
Isn't real. I wonder if you've had the experience of driving a new car.
Okay, one final transition. I'm going to do a fade cross dissolve.
You think?
Okay, one thing I'll notice about these fades is very often when you have very precise sound editing on the fades apply not only to the video but also to the audio, and so you can get some unwanted artifacts in there if you export the video like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all, Command A, and I'm going to now detach the audio. And if I go back to and find a previous fade, just notice what it does to the audio here. So the audio will flow smoothly from one track to the other without fading across.
In the first place. The fact is, we are all
having got that far, I'm now at the point where I can start thinking about the extra images that I want to superimpose on the video here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screenshot of myself because I just want to know whereabouts I am on the image. I'm then going to open that screenshot up. In a Macintosh it goes to preview, and I'm just going to edit it down so I just get the frame of the video. Command K will cut that, and I'll save it. And now what I use to create the extra images that appear on the side here is Keynote. You may well be able to do exactly the same thing with PowerPoint. So I'll open up Keynote. Okay, and here's the file that I use. So here's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. Right, so first thing I'm going to do is take my screenshot and I'm going to drop it on this blue background and resize it. So that I can see approximately where I appear in the shot. And I will use this as a template to add animations and other pictures here. So let's just make some copies of that. And now I'll go through my video again, and I'm looking for the illustrations that I want to put on the video as I go through, and I'll put them on in order. Have you ever been told that you are subject to confirmation bias? So one of the neat things about doing this is I can include animations on my titles and on my images. So I'm going to do that with this, my first one. I'm going to animate it. Now this I just copied the previous animation, but I'm going to go with keyboard. And I'll probably make it a little bit longer and do a preview. It takes 2 seconds, so I'm just going to make it 2. Do a preview. Okay, here's the book that I'm referring to in my video. I like to have it at a bit of an angle rather than just straight. So I'm going to just give it... So I want you to notice that this particular image has some blue in it, in which case this will become transparent. I don't want that to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take me out of this particular shot, and I'm going to change the color fill in the back of this to green instead. And you'll see that the effect that has later on. Okay, let's keep going. Voices and the bicameral mind. And in that book, anthropologist Brian McVeigh writes, interiorized experience is not perception. So let's put me back in. And I'm going to put in another element to this. Now I go and grab the text that I'm quoting when I say this. In Keynote, they have this transition between slides called Magic Move, which means that any shapes that I place in adjacent slides will animate between the two. So you'll see what happens here when I do this. It's just a very, very simple way of including some interesting animation in what I'm doing. Okay, so this is an image that has some blue and a tiny bit of green in it. So I'm going to need to use a different way of superimposing this on my final video. So I'm going to make it as a full sized image in this particular case. Having put together the captions and the animations and everything that I want to do, what I'm now going to do is take my picture out of all of these frames. So that's it. I'm going to now export those as a movie. So I'm going slides 8 to 14. We'll go export to movie. Eight to 14. I'm going to give myself plenty of time. So I usually give each slide 30 seconds. Each build I'll have a 10-second space between. I can stretch or shrink that as needs be when I drop it into iMovie. So then I will save it, drop it on my desktop and let it export. Alright, having got that far and gone away and made myself a cup of tea, I'm now ready to pop that video, those animations into my project. So I go back into iMovie and I'm just going to go right back to the very start. I'll give myself some space here. I'm going to drag my prayer slides export right up here and you'll see it comes in above my existing film. Now you'll notice what it does automatically is
subject to confirmation bias.
It just fills in the whole screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and instead of cut away I'm going to go green and blue screen. And this is now transparent. And you'll see what happens here. Here's my first type. So I'm going to split clip, get rid of that bit because I don't want it. I'm going to drag this to where I do want it to go. And I think it's about there. To confirmation. Yep. I want that to be appearing about there, I think.
Confirmation.
To confirmation. I want to go a little bit further back. To confirmation bias. Now, all I need to do really with this is decide how long I want it to go. Let's, for the moment, say I want it to go here. I'm just going to split clip and just pull it away. And you'll see what happens. Now, have you ever been told that you are subject to confirmation bias?
Well, it's true. You are. Because everybody is.
Now, this is interesting. You'll notice what happens. Because I've changed from a blue background to a green background, notice what the clip does as I play this. As regular viewers will know. So, you can see it's looking for blue to make that transparent, and this is now green. So what I need to do is just cut this, split clip, and take that. Now I want that portion is going to be green, and where it goes back to blue, let's cut it here. Split clip, that's going to be something different. Okay, so now I'm just going to take this section that's currently green, and so I click on that. Let's just go out of green screen, go cut away, and go back to green screen, blue screen, and it makes that transparent. So it's changed it to green as transparent, and notice the colour on the book title there, you've got the blues showing through. So just be very aware of the colours on the image you're trying to superimpose on your video. That's the message here. Right, I need to go and find where that book's going to go in.
Anthropologist Brian McVeigh writes,
so I want that to appear about here.
Anthropologist Brian McVeigh writes, interiorized.
So now I'm going to take this back to where I wanted, and I'm just dragging the start of it back to the title of the book.
I've been reading a book entitled.
Here we go. Let's go there.
Entitled Gods, Voices and the Bicameral Mind. And in that book, anthropologist Brian McVeigh writes, interiorized experience is not perception. Or to put it another way, why?
And here I'm going to do a cut because I want to shorten the amount of time between this and the next thing. Right, here's where the change occurs. So I'm going to cut that, split that clip, pull that out. And I just need to make sure that this butts up against the previous clip here. Let's see that it all works.
To put it another way, the mind's eye.
No, I need to go further back.
The mind's eye.
So I need that to be about here. So let's see how that all flows through.
And in that book, anthropologist Brian McVeigh writes, interiorized experience is not perception. Or to put it another way, the mind's eye is not the real eye.
Okay, here I do want a hard cut. So, split clip, and I think I'm just going to delete. Yep, I'm going to delete the rest of that.
Real eye. Think about what you're looking at right now.
Here's my next thing that I want to put in. It's this image. Now I'm just going to go and cut it again. Here is. Notice this is still on the blue screen. So let's for the moment just cut that there. Cut that here. Split clip. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to go somewhere.
Isn't real. I wonder if you've had the experience of driving. Real. I wonder if you've had the experience of driving a new car and suddenly seeing them everywhere.
Is it? With this image, if I wanted to, I could drop it in as a smaller picture. I can go picture in picture, and it will, and just resize it like that,
and suddenly seeing them everywhere.
On this particular occasion, I think all I'm going to do is go cut away. So it just appears full screen for a short period of time, and then goes back to me. Again, I can fade it in if I want to.
Having a new car and suddenly seeing them everywhere. Is it because thousands of people have suddenly...
So, here's my next point.
In a sense, you can't. But the first thing you should do is recognise your own susceptibility to it.
So timing-wise, that works quite well. I'm going to fade that in.
But the first thing you should do is recognise your own susceptibility to it. And this isn't something you should do for anyone else. This is only your own perceptions of the world. And a final and perhaps obvious pro tip.
So here I am pretty sure that I'm going to have to a long wait here. So what I'm going to do is do a split clip again and go find my...
And tell me what you think.
Here's what I want. And take that out, split clip, delete that, and let's move this forward.
Pro tip is to notice that the people going around talking about confirmation bias are frequently the people who have forgotten that it applies to themselves. Now, if you're further interested in
Alright, what I'm going to do with this animation is speed it up. So I'm going to go to the speed menu up here, and I'm just going to go fast. And I can actually go even faster than that.
Are frequently people who have forgotten are frequently this tip is to notice that
again, cut a section out because there's just too much space there. Let's have a look how it flows.
And perhaps obvious pro tip is to notice that the people going around talking about confirmation bias are frequently the people who have forgotten that it applies to themselves.
Okay, so now that I'm happy with that video, all I need to do is go and export it. So click up here, export file, pardon me, and I'll give it a name. Save it to my desktop. It will take a little while to process, and then I'll upload it to YouTube. So look, that's just a look at our process using iMovie and using Keynote to produce the animations and the images that I superimpose on the video. Feel free to ask me any questions if you've got them. I'm happy to share.